Welcome to this explainer, where today we are breaking down the essential tools that turn a whole bunch of noise into real, actual knowledge. We're talking about descriptive statistics. Let's dive right in. We are just surrounded by data every single day. From business reports to our favorite sports teams. But let's be honest, a long list of numbers, it doesn't really tell you anything by itself. The real magic is finding the story that's hiding inside all that data. Okay, to make this all feel really concrete, we're going to follow the journey of a brand new coffee shop. We'll take its daily customer count for the first month and see exactly how these statistical tools work in the real world. So the first thing our coffee shop owner needs to know is pretty simple. What does a typical day even look like? Getting this right is absolutely crucial for everything, from scheduling staff to ordering more coffee beans. And to find out, we need to find the center of our data using what are called measures of central tendency. All right, the one you probably already know is the mean. You probably just call it the average. It's the go-to for a quick snapshot. You just add everything up, divide, and boom, you've got your number. So after we crunch the numbers for our coffee shop, we find out the mean is 52 customers per day. So on average, they serve 52 people. It's a good starting point, but is it really the best number to plan your whole business around? See, the average doesn't tell the whole story. Let's look at another number, the median. Now, to find this one, you just line up all your daily customer counts, from your slowest day all the way to your busiest, and you just pick the number that's sitting right smack in the middle. And for our coffee shop, the median is 45 customers. Whoa, hold on. That's interesting, right? Our mean was 52, but our median is a full 7 customers lower. So what gives? Why the big difference? Okay, so here's the key. The mean gets totally pulled around by extreme numbers, what we call outliers. So imagine our coffee shop had a huge street festival next door one weekend. They got a massive spike in customers. Well, those couple of super busy days are going to drag that mean way up. The median, though, it doesn't get fooled. It stays anchored right in the middle, giving our owner a much more honest picture of a truly typical day. All right, let's talk about our last way to find that typical day, the mode. This one is the simplest of all of them. It's just the number that shows up the most often in our data. It basically answers the question, what happened more than anything else? And this is where the mode has a special superpower. Think about it. You can't calculate the average coffee drink, right? But you can use the mode to find out which drink sells the most, like do more people buy lattes or cappuccinos? It's the perfect tool when you're not working with numbers. So knowing what's typical is a great start, but it's really only half the story. Now we need to figure out how consistent the business is. Are the customer numbers pretty stable day to day, or are they just swinging wildly all over the place? Because let's be real, predictability is where the money is. The quickest, simplest way to check this is with the range. You just take the busiest day, subtract the slowest day, and there you have it. It gives you a basic idea, but it's a little crude since it only pays attention to the 2 most extreme days and ignores everything in between. But if you want something with a little more oomph, a lot more precision, you turn to the standard deviation. This tells us, on average, how far each day's customer count strays from that mean of 52. A really small standard deviation? That means most days are pretty close to the average. It's a consistent, predictable business. A big one? Well, that means the days are all over the map. Just imagine that for a second. A standard deviation of 0 would mean our coffee shop had the exact same number of customers every single day. Perfect consistency. But probably not very realistic, right? Okay, so we've got the center, we've got the spread. Now what happens when we put them together? This is where we start to understand the shape of our data, moving beyond single numbers to uncover some really cool patterns. So remember that thing we saw earlier, how the coffee shop's mean of 52 was higher than its median of 45? Well, that's a classic sign of what we call positive skewness. Those few super busy days from the festival created a long tail on the high end of the data, and that tail literally pulled the average up with it. Now, this is where it gets really cool, though. We can also use these tools to see if 2 different things are connected. For our coffee shop owner, she might be wondering, hey, when it gets hotter outside, do we actually sell more iced coffee? And the tool for that job is the correlation coefficient. In the biz, pretty much everyone just calls it R. It's one single, really powerful number that tells us not just if 2 things are related, but how strongly and in what direction. And honestly, the idea is super straightforward. If R is +1, that's a perfect positive correlation. As the temperature goes up, iced coffee sales go up in perfect lockstep. A -1 means the exact opposite. And of course, a 0 means there's no relationship at all. The closer you get to 1 or -1, the stronger that connection is. All right, we've done all this number crunching. We've found the center, the spread, the shape, but now for what might be the most important part, actually seeing our data. Because a really good chart can tell you the whole story in a single glance. So before we can draw anything, we need what's called a 5-point summary. This is a quick snapshot that includes our slowest day and our busiest day, the median right in the middle, and two other points called quartiles that basically mark out the main middle chunk of our data. And that 5-point summary is the direct blueprint for one of the most useful charts out there, the box plot. It shows you the range, the median, and the spread all at once. And its real superpower? It makes those outliers, those really weirdly busy or slow days, pop right off the page so you absolutely cannot miss them. And just one last super important tip. You've got to use the right chart for the right kind of data. A histogram is what you want when you're showing the distribution of numbers, like how many days did we have between 40 and 50 customers? But a bar chart is what you use to compare completely separate categories, like the sales of lattes versus espressos. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Descriptive statistics, they're not just for textbooks or math class. They are incredibly powerful tools that let anyone, and I mean anyone, uncover the hidden stories in the numbers. So now that you've got the basics down, what story is the data all around you just waiting to tell?